No, and we had another really good practice day, long practice. We practiced and then had another 100-play scrimmage today. Plan on doing the same thing Thursday. Knock on wood, we've been very fortunate. We're able to keep so many bodies healthy. We're getting a lot of really, really good work. Their attitude's good, their effort's good, the coaching's good. I like where we're at in all three phases. Again, we have a number of young guys that are getting really quality work that hopefully in the middle of August can help us in some games this year, more so than ever in my 17 years here, just based on having the extra 25 guys here for spring ball. So I'm excited about that. We have one more day of really good work, and then as I mentioned earlier in the year, or I should say the spring, that I was hoping that we would be in a position that we could play a real football game for the spring. First time in I don't know how many years we've been able to do that. So we divided the teams equally, divided the coaches, and we'll have a short practice, a little bit of 7-on-7, some passing, a little bit of individual to start, and then we'll play two 20-minute halves or quarters with the clock running like it would be on game day. Instead of using a running clock, we reduced it a little bit because we don't quite have the depth to play 60 minutes. And we also want to have a half where, in case we need to get in a 2-minute situation, we can. So it'll look like a football game. We'll keep score like a football game. There'll be a break after the first 20. We'll have a 5-minute break, and then we'll turn around and play another 20. We think that's what our fans want to see. They want to see football. They want to see it played the way that it's played during the season. And then we eliminated the halftime because we felt like when we went in at halftime and you come back out 20, 25 minutes later, it's kind of a downer. The fans just want to see football and they want to see everybody play. So that'll be our goal. Hopefully we can put a good show on for the crowd. It's supposed to have great weather. And we've got enough players to do that. So everything's gone really well up to now. We're just looking forward to another practice Thursday and then finishing up with what I would call a real spring game.
For Saturday, you'll put the quarterbacks in an off-colored jersey, won't you?
Something other than green. I'm thinking we're going with gray now that you brought that up.
Okay, I knew that, but it won't be black or orange.
And as much as I would love to have live tackling, we're going to go what we call full thud, but it's just as I've moved forward during my career as a coach and in rare instances seen a young man get hurt in that game and he's out for 6 months, I can't deal with that anymore. So we practice this way. We did go live quite a bit last Friday, probably about 50 plays, and we'll go live Thursday, probably about 50 plays. And then we'll control it a little bit Saturday just because I don't want to do some live and some not live. It'll confuse them, and the game won't look clean.
Full thud, is that like a two-hand touch type of deal?
No, I mean, if you're anything that's in front of you, then they come and they thud up and wrap up. You know, we try not to go to the ground. Sometimes they do. Anytime you're going at an angle, you're going to come and play like you do in the front yard. Knees are bent, and you're going to tag off because at an angle, that's where you get people tangled up. And that's what we've done this spring, and we've been really good at it. So.
And then from I guess a general sense, what's the shakedown process of deciding the two teams?
I don't have any idea. I asked the defensive coaches to evenly divide up their defense and the offensive coaches to evenly divide up their offense. And then I don't even know who's on the roster. This is the first I've seen. I had them give it to Sean and them in media, and they split it up. I didn't even pay attention to it. I just told them to make it even to where we could have a competitive game.
Mike, you talked, I think it was last week, about the lack of conditioning a year ago because of all the missed time and stuff. Were you able to see, you clearly know that about your own team, were other teams saying, we all assumed they were the same way? Is that something you could tell when you played teams, or is everybody in the same boat, or you think some teams might have been in better shape than others? Or?
Well, I mean, I can offer my opinion. I didn't think anybody was in shape in September. That was the teams I watched in college football. I thought everybody was out of shape.
What are some of the signs you look for when you see that?
Well, defensive linemen, instead of being in some sort of a ready position, they have a knee down on the ground. And then anytime guys have their hands on their knees in the back end on defense, and then you can see wideouts that are like this until they know they're getting ready to go. And then when plays are over, guys aren't moving back quick enough and getting lined up. And then defenses don't run to the ball. So we were out of shape. And I don't remember seeing anybody September, maybe even halfway into October, that I felt like was really in good condition.
Hey, Coach, you kind of talked on it a little bit. Younger players getting more quality reps than you're used to. Can you talk a little bit more just with that with the cornerbacks?
With what do you mean?
Just, I mean, what are you seeing from some of these younger guys in spring practice?
Are you talking about quarterbacks?
Cornerbacks.
Oh, cornerbacks. Okay. Corey Black is getting a lot of reps and is showing what we thought we had with him, showing athleticism. And Muhammad is the same way. And so you're seeing him make a lot of mistakes, but they're making them athletically. And they're being coached, which allows them to improve and get better. Okay? DeMarco Jones, same category. Guys that have been around a little bit, but haven't had as many live reps in 11 on 11 as we're getting now. So it gives them a chance to, I know this sounds funny, but make mistakes, be corrected, and then do better in the next practice. That's why I'm so encouraged, because we haven't had that luxury here in my other 16 years because we didn't have enough players to get the threes work 11 on 11. They worked a lot in individual, and they worked a lot in 7 on 7, but that's just like shooting horse in basketball. You may be real good at horse, but you're probably not as good in 5 on 5 and 1 on 1. And so those guys are getting really quality work, and those young guys are making mistakes and getting corrected.
This is not my favorite topic. But you've talked every time we've talked with you, you've talked about the fact you've been able to go 3 deep, more units, more guys getting real reps in practice. And I think we all know after the news of last week that the portal is going to be, there'll be guys looking after spring ball. If they don't think they're going to play, they'll be looking around. Do you feel like your practices have galvanized this team better and made everybody feel like, hey, I'm valuable here, and if they can galvanize over the summer like you like to see them do, this puts you in a good position?
I think there's two things there. It'll be interesting to see how people react with the portal based on the total number, availability of scholarships and numbers on the portal. That's not going to change. What I've learned this spring is with all the young players and even walk-ons, the excitement they have knowing they get to practice. And what I mean by practice is 11 on 11. They don't just get to do the drill work and then when you play 5 on 5 pick up hoops at the Y. They get to get in now and play. And so I can't imagine that when some of these young players or the walk-on players who you really don't know how good they are when they don't get reps. When their parents say, what are you actually doing in practice? And they're saying, well, I'm doing everything, and I got 22 live snaps today. I can't imagine that won't help the cohesiveness of the unit. And the players, well, I mean, let's face it. Some people aren't as athletically gifted as others. Some of us might want to play in the NFL worse than anything, and you genetically don't have an opportunity. But if you're here and you're getting to work in the spring and in August prior to getting into an in-game season routine, and you're getting a lot of work, you would think you would feel more committed to the organization because you're getting out there and getting to play. You're being coached. Every one of our reps, all 144 scrimmage plays last week, were graded by each coach at each position on every player on the field. And I can't imagine that wouldn't help a young man feel good about himself.
Kind of building off of that question with the split roster, does that make it easier for those 3s and 4s to get some action this weekend?
So there'll be some guys that we have that were almost like an NFL veteran. I don't know that Malcolm Rodriguez will get more than a couple series. LD Brown, Spencer, there's some guys that have put their time in. They'll get a couple racks, and then they'll come out, and then other guys that are in their spots at the 2s that haven't had as much work, they'll get more work. And then that will allow, with the split teams, like you said, there should be about 14 possessions or so per unit. So that would give just about everybody like 3 series to get out there and play. Most of these guys on our team, their parents are going to come watch them, and they're going to get to see them go out for 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 series and watch them play. And that should help. Is what you're saying is true? Yes.